UK MP wants blasphemy laws. Is free speech at risk in the UK? Obviously, it's been at risk. Uh, some could argue that the UK already has a blasphemy law, just now people are talking about it being official. Let's be honest. A recent parliamentary exchange in the United Kingdom has sparked alarm over potential reintroduction of blasphemy laws, with Labour MP Tahir Ali urging Prime Minister Keir Starmer to consider measures prohibiting the desecration of religious texts and figures from Abrahamic faiths. Citing, quote, Islamophobia Awareness Month and a UN resolution condemning such acts, Ali urged that desecration, quote, fuels division and hatred within our society. While Starmer condemned desecration as awful, his refusal to categorically dismiss the idea has raised concerns among critics, including the National Secular Society, which warned, quote, calls for the legal protection of religious texts and figures should be seen for what they are, a demand for the reintroduction of blasphemy laws. Advocates for free speech emphasized that such laws threaten democratic freedoms and urged the government to ensure tackling hatred does not infringe on the right to free expression. So, Armin, let's go to the video I asked you to download. One of the videos that
Is
Dean
it
found for us,
is it this
and
one?
then we will unpack. Yeah, so let's watch his statements ourselves, and then we can dive in.
Okay, I'm going to let you click the play button so you
Oh,
could
okay.
you're in control.
Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. November marks Islamophobia Awareness Month. Last year, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts, including the Quran, despite opposition from the previous government. Acts of such mindless desecration only serve to fuel division and hatred within our society. Will the Prime Minister commit to introducing measures to prohibit the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of the Abrahamic religions?
Can I agree with him that desecration is awful and I think should be condemned across the House? We are, as I said before, Mr. Speaker, committed to tackling all forms of hatred and division, including, of course, Islamophobia.
Oh my God. Go stuff it. Can we just first unpack that he's this freaking MP whose constituency that he represents is like the second most Muslim constituency in the UK. Over 50%, I believe, is Muslim. Is explicitly and unapologetically asking for privileges within the law. That is 100% what it is. He is openly, with a bald face, asking for privilege under the law. That's what it is. Because he doesn't even, for the love of God, some of you freaking, I don't people that don't value your own freaking national, civic values, your own, like, at least pretend that they're trying to push for a law that, is against the desecration of all books. Some of them are at least smart enough to at least pretend that bullshit as if we don't all know what's going on. No. But he takes it a step further and he says specifically prohibiting the desecration of religious texts and figures from Abrahamic faiths. The Abrahamics. Okay. Once again, that is like just one step above. Oh, it's all religious texts. As if someone is like, we're worried about someone desecrating the Bhagavad Gita or something. No. So no, but instead we're just making it about the Abrahamics. Okay, that is such bullshit and protecting all Abrahamic prophets. Excuse me, who the fuck is blaspheming the prophet Ezekiel? Okay. You
We should start
freaking
with
liar. How stupid do you take us for? Are you kidding me? Who is like, oh my God, this offense to the prophet Isaac. I can't tolerate We know what the fuck you're doing. We're not stupid. It makes me so furious. Just if you're gonna just say it with your whole chest. We all know what this is about. Just come out and say it. Just literally come out and say it at this point. Just be like, yeah, no, I literally want privileges under the law for being Muslim. Full stop. Full stop. Just come out and say it, because that's what you're already saying, especially when the next few words that come out of your mouth are citing Islamophobia Awareness Month and that bullshit, shameful resolution from the United Nations Human Rights Council. Now, for those who don't know what he's referring to, back when there was a spate of desecrations and Quran burnings in Denmark and Sweden, was it about a year and a half ago? Where this caused huge international outrage. You know, people were attacking Swedish embassies. They were attacking the Danish embassy in Iraq in the Green Zone. Like, so then the United Nations Human Rights Council passed this resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts. At least they tried to frickin' pretend that this was about all religious texts. Like, oh my God, you know, we're worried about the Guru Granth Sahib. Like, no, shut the fuck up. You're not. Like, and at the time, Armin and I were outraged because we know what message that sends when the UN Human Rights Council passes that kind of resolution. And we are 100% proven right when we have that measure taken to show that these laws are legitimate and valid within liberal democracies. This is exactly why we object to those resolutions of legislation, because not only does this validate blasphemy laws, apostasy laws, laws that prohibit freedom of expression within freaking Muslim theocracy dictatorships, okay? It validates those by saying, oh no, we actually do need laws to protect from this kind of thing. We actually do need laws to protect from offense XYZ. Not only does that reinforce the barbarity within places like freaking Iran, but it then serves as a precedent to show that this is actually valid and accepted within the frameworks of the world liberal order, such as the platform of the table of the United Nations. And oh, well, look, the United Nations, which you all guys like recognize as this table where the world comes together to agree on the norms and standard in which we all agree is part of the human rights afforded to all of us. Look, even they agree that this is completely necessary. They agree that this is completely right. Well, if you go into the details of who voted for that measure, certain things become extremely apparent very, very quickly about who is pushing this. Okay. And it's not the bastions of human rights. Okay. It becomes pretty freaking obvious. I know that we have a lot of viewership from the UK. We actually have a lot more viewership from the UK than we have traditionally. It's been very interesting and very cool. I'm going to be completely honest, you guys, to my friends across the pond, as we say. Okay, I need you guys to stand up and be like talking openly, honestly, full-throatedly about how this is completely unacceptable. Like, I know that there are some people in the UK that are like, oh no, I can't talk about this because it's like dangerous or because of social consequences or blah 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 blah. Like, okay, so you're just fielding territory. You're just seceding territory. Like, at what if when you see this as a citizen in your nation from an MP and then the response from the Prime Minister himself, I'm going to ask you guys, as part of the citizenry, what more is it going to take for you to start speaking out very strongly about this? What more is it going to take? This I honestly, like, if this should be sending chills down your spine. If this is not an absolute mandate to be raising a, a 5-star alarm. You know what I mean? What more is it going to take? I was reading a really interesting piece in The Spectator, and it was basically saying that, no, if you've been paying attention, we actually already have blasphemy law in the UK. Just now we're talking about it openly. And I thought that was very prescient because I actually basically agree. I actually basically agree. Because of what happened to the Batley Grammar School teacher who is still in hiding for accusations of blasphemy, still in hiding 3 years later because of failures to be protected by his school administration from freaking radical Islamists in their community. Okay. Because of what happened with the Lady of Heaven fiasco, where, admittedly, Shia weirdos in their own right wanted to make their own little propaganda movie, and the Sunnis flipped the fuck out and started threatening movie theaters to the point that, it's just vote by mob. You're just allowing vote by mob from Salafists. Like, people like the freaking Islamists have 5 pillars. Okay, that's what you're allowing. That's what you're allowing. But, they can kind of wipe that off because that's like an inter-Muslim little conflict thing. Like, we don't know what's really going on there. That sounds like a them problem, blah, 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 blah. You're allowing Muslims to enforce blasphemy upon other Muslims. That is just as insidious. You don't get that excuse. You don't get this excuse. What is this, freaking Pakistan? Give me a freaking break. Then we have the incident that happened, I think it was last year, where there was a kid with severe autism that accidentally scuffed a Quran, and his mother had to go appear in front of a local mosque and be begging, mother of this autistic child, begging the local community to not take it out on her child and her family. Because of a Quran that wasn't even damaged, that he just like dropped, kicked, or scuffed it or something. You're already ruled by blasphemy norms. Apparently. Now you're talking about it out loud. And justifying it on the basis of Islamophobia Awareness Month and all this other shit. So I don't know what to say to people living in the UK besides, like, if this is not a firm mandate, I don't know what else will be. And here's the thing. As a member of the British citizenry, no one else can do this for you. Really internalize that. No one else can do this for you. You have to be willing within you and your communities to be able to stand up and refuse and reject this. No one else can do that for you. So what more is it going to take? Okay, sorry. Armin, go ahead.
No, I mean, you said almost everything. I just wanted to add, imagine if when this guy said, if you're going to do anything, or if you're going to criminalize blaspheming against Islam, imagine if you had a prime minister in the UK that stood up and said, looked around and were like, sorry, I thought for a second that this is the Parliament of Pakistan, because surely no member of the Parliament of the United Kingdoms would suggest that we criminalize speech. Like, this must be a dream. Either I'm in Pakistan or this is a dream. Don't tell me we have members of parliaments here that this country, which was one of the 2 main countries that was the foundation of liberal values, built upon the main principle of freedom of expression, has now in its parliament a member that is suggesting that we criminalize certain forms of expressions of thought, you must be joking. And if this is real, sir, you don't belong here. It's offensive to even have you here in this parliament. Imagine if you had a prime minister that stood up and said something like that.
That would never happen because
Wouldn't
that's
that be?
racist, Armin. Oh my God, how dare you say that to, you know, an MP of his ethnic background? Oh my God. Apparently, it's that easy to shut someone down. Apparently, all you have to do is accuse these men of being racist and they just shut down. Apparently. I don't know. I mean, we're also talking about two-tier Keir here. I mean, are we? No one is surprised. Let's be completely honest. Absolutely, no one is surprised. It's just the precedent is so chilling. I don't know if people know like how bad the consequences of merely having this conversation in open parliament is. The message that it sends to the constituents. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah. By the way, we got a lot of super chats. But let's do these comments first. Before
I
the
just want to
comments
say
that the
something more. Like, there might be
yeah,
some
go
people
on.
that are like, oh, Susanna, it's like all well and fine for you to say that. Like, you don't have to deal with this. Like, you
Oh,
are in a
bullshit.
different country, blah, 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 blah. Like, you're not gonna pay the cost. Like, I don't know. Part of me doesn't fully buy into that in the sense that, like, because of what I do here on this show and with AR as an organization, like, I have paid a social cost. I've been faced with a lot. It wasn't fun. It wasn't great to go through, but it honestly wasn't that bad. It wasn't so bad that it was not worth speaking out. It wasn't so bad that it was not worth me standing for what I believe to be right. What I believe to be
Well,
right for the most amount of people. You know what I mean? I did
what
pay a
if
social
somebody
cost.
says
There were consequences, and I actually hold myself accountable for those consequences. I'm under no delusions.
what if
But
someone says the consequences? Hold on. What if somebody says the consequences are higher in the UK than in the United States?
the
I
consequences
would
of
say
the
that.
silence are so much worse.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and once you get over the hump, in my experience, maybe this is just me as an individual. Like, once you get over the hump of like facing the social consequences and having the mud slung at you and the names and the accusations and the blah blah blah, at a certain point, like it just rolls off the back. The idea of being accused of being racist is like so minuscule to me now. Water off a duck's back. So what? Give me a break. Is that the best you have? Am I supposed to fall apart because you flung an accusation that I have a racial bias against me? I'm supposed to fall apart. I'm supposed to cower. I'm supposed to turn away because you think that it's efficacious to, you know, efficacious to just throw an accusation at me, and you expect that I will crumble merely on the basis of that. No, it's going to take a damn lot more than that. It's going to take a damn lot more than that, because I'm firm in my convictions and I know what I do. I know what inspires me to speak out. You know, like it's oh yeah, people are talking about, oh, what's her name? Allison, her last name starts with an R. One thing that you guys have in the UK that maybe if you're interested in, you could join to help with some protection is the Free Speech Union. The Free Speech Union in the UK, I think is a way for people to help get some protections for these kinds of things. I don't know. Maybe people are gonna say that I'm off base. Sure.
Yep.
I've just
On-
become, in a couple of other instances of observations I've seen in my life recently, really disgusted with people who are so willing to just turn away and cower. merely because someone called them like racist or xenophobic or a fascist all of a sudden. That's all it takes, apparently. Tanya,
Respond to this comment.
it's annoying that people who are not from the UK think we British are just sitting there doing nothing. Of course we are fighting. I'm waiting for the police to knock at my door any day now. Well, I let me be clear. I do not think that people are doing nothing. Obviously, we have certain movements. We do have movements within the UK.
Tommy, you have Tommy, for example.
Yeah. But it's just
she's not saying that nobody is not doing anything. Like, it's not like a generalization. Obviously not enough. So it's not enough people are just because you're doing something, that doesn't mean enough people are doing something. Not enough people in the UK are doing what Susanna is saying. You should, Tanya, I think you should agree with that. You are, if you are doing something, you are a minority.
I think that is a good qualification, though, and I apologize if I made it seem like no one's doing anything, because I don't believe that's true. I do apologize for that. I want to call upon more people who have voiced that they're basically not going to say anything to act, because I want you to have more solidarity, Tanya.
Yeah, you need more support. Tanya needs more people on her side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like this attitude. Like, people are saying UK, you mean New Pakistan. Guys, make sure that you don't consider UK to be too far gone, not worthy of fight. This is the attitude that a lot of people have in Europe, that they think like, oh, it's over, right? It's gone. UK has fallen. London has fallen. And that attitude makes even a lot of people who agree with the problem, that attitude makes them not fight. Like, how pathetic that do you have to be to not want to try saving your country? Like, it's not UK is not Pakistan. Okay, make sure it doesn't become like Pakistan. It's not there. It's not there yet, and that's why you should stand up and fight for it. Fight for your country. People are saying defeatism. Fight for your country. Don't act like everything is lost. It's not. It's not. It's not lost. UK is not fallen. You should stand up for it.
So I'm laughing because I'm actually going to be visiting the UK soon next year, and I'm very excited for it. I love England.
Yeah. Do you want to redo these the comments that Dee has highlighted for us?
Yeah, so that was just like a recap of the video. So
recap. This one, do you want to highlight the comment?
Hell yeah, I love this attitude from whoever this person is. You can F right off. It's my guess there'll be a national book burning if this is even entertained. Okay?
I hope
so.
Yeah. By the way, guys,
power in numbers, okay?
If anybody tells you that burning Qurans is fascistic because the Nazis burn books, first tell them that, are they okay, and do they have any issues? And if they are not, anyways, I'm not going to say what I'm supposed to say because some people are going to have a problem, but some people are going to think I mean something else, but you know what I mean. If they are okay, if they're in the right mind, then explain to them that, you fucking moron, then if you are in the right mind, then you have no excuse not understanding that when Nazis were burning books used to be the main source of collecting information, to hold information, because we didn't have the fucking internet, we didn't have computers. If I burn like when the Nazis were burning books, first of all, it wasn't their own books, it was other people's books, and the intention was to delete information, is to censor, is to remove information that they do not want. If you burn the Quran, these are people that are just looking at surface level similarity and don't understand that the Nazis burning books is the removal of access to information. Today, we have the fucking Quran everywhere. There are free apps of the Quran. It's on the internet. Burning a Quran is not meant for removing access to it. It's a symbolic thing. It's not for censorship. Who the fuck in the world will have not access to the Quran because somebody somewhere symbolically burned the Quran? These are not remotely the same thing, you fucking idiots. In fact, I burned the Quran, and I have Qurans that I keep for references. Like even though I burned the Quran, I haven't even censored the Quran in my own home. That is such a dumb point to make. Such an idiotic point to make. Anyways.
You're like, I have one for desecration and one to read and reference.
For reference, exactly. Yeah, if one day somebody tried to censor the Quran with no access to it, I would be like, no, fuck that shit. We need this book. We need to study this book. We don't want to censor it like the way that the Nazis did. But if I burn it symbolically, yeah. And also if I burn the Quran, it's my Quran. The Nazis were burning other people's properties, like the way Muhammad was destroying other people's idols, right? So the Muhammad from Islam is more like the Nazis because he went and destroyed other people's properties. If I burn the Quran, it's my property. I didn't go. If you go and take someone else's Quran and burn it, that's a crime. If it's my Quran that I purchased with my own money, that's not a crime. Anyways, this one.
I'm not even sure I fully get this. It's saying, keep going, Britain. Chase all your best over to America like last time. Is the implication that this will cause people to don't move to America?
Yeah. I mean, the UK is having a lot of, and Canada also, a lot of people are going from the UK to US and from Canada to US for better opportunities.
Well, yeah, I mean,
right.
the UK is going to lose more millionaires this year than gain them. But that's, because of economic stuff. That's kind of a separate.
But no, it's not separate. They're related. When you suffer culturally, you will suffer economically. Everything at the end of the day is economic. When the values of your countries are being challenged, people sometimes say like, oh, we're bringing all these immigrants. If you argue that this is good for the economy, we are willing to sacrifice our economy to fight for our values. I don't agree with that. At the end of the day, everything is economics. Our lives are economics. Better values bring better economics. If you have people with shit beliefs, you better believe that it's going to show its effect. Short term, maybe you will see. I mean, not even in short term in Europe, but even if in short term, if you see some benefits, which with new studies, we're saying that we're not seeing short-term benefits from immigrants from the Middle East and North Africa for Europe. But even if you did, long-term, it will fuck up your economy because lower values bring lower economies. Anyways, look, this one.
This person is saying, this is definitely an attack on free speech under the guise of Islamophobia. I mean, obviously. Next will be
no, there's nothing.
What do you?
Oh, this one. Oh, sorry. I thought you read the whole thing. Sorry. Go on.
Next will be legislation, and then comes their favorite part: fines.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I said when you said next, I thought you were saying go to the next comment. I didn't realize what was happening. We got a lot of super chats.
A boatload of super chats. Let's go through these. Thank you, everyone. The super chats go a very long way in supporting our show, so thank you very much to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to this one first. GJ is saying, WTF off topic. I'm fuming because the 45 suspects of anti-Semitism threats and violence during the, all the chaos in Amsterdam. A soccer match won't be prosecuted for terrorism because they didn't want to scare Jews. GJ, can you maybe on Discord send more information about what you're referring to for context, because I'm confused. And also, if there's information about how the prosecution of this case is evolving, that's very relevant to something we would want to cover. left darker than Islam. Thank you for the super chat. Saying, why not we corner these woke leftists enabling Islam?
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. I mean,
Don't corner them. If this is are you getting physical? Don't get physical.
yeah,
This is kind of scary. Like, what the hell?
like
Corner them how?
maybe why don't we counter them? Like we
Counter them.
we
Yes.
talk about them and talk about that
Yes.
alliance and try to counter them all the time. Dan, let's go to this one first. Dan gave a super chat. Thank you, Dan, saying white female converts are their favorite converts. Nothing better than a girl who was free spirited wearing swimsuits to hijab. They love it. I don't even know how much of it is about the degeneracy of the lifestyle before, so much as they like the features. They find
It's white fetish.
It's a
They
beauty.
have white
It's a beauty
fetish.
standard. I don't. Armin, in your opinion, does the the corruption of the lifestyle before matter as much as just the
No,
beauty
no, no.
standard?
It's a mix of white fetish and inferiority complex and dominating over an ethnicity that you felt inferior to by taking their woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan gave another super chat saying Muslim actors and actresses in Bollywood are very liberal and mixed with Hindus. They go to Hindu festivals and many are totally fine with their female relatives intermarrying with Hindus. So Muslims can be liberal. 100%. 100%. And also, like, what people don't realize or talk about as much is that the practice of Islam is very different within the South Asian context than, say, like an Arab context. And I know several South Asian Muslims who actually push back against how the practice of Islam has changed within their lifetime as it's become more Islamistized. They're like, this is not how we practice. You guys are trying to like Arabize what we do within our faith. This is which people could contend for sure. I just think it's an interesting perspective. And to the point that there are some sociologists that literally try to study what is different about Indian Muslims, because given how much of a population there should have been more of them that joined ISIS. Like, statistically, there should have been more Indian Muslims that joined ISIS, but there was such a proportionate lack of them that they're like, what we need to study, like, what's different about what is going on here that caused people to not join at the same rates as other populations. I think that's very interesting. Chris gave a super chat. Thank you, Chris, saying, I am an antichrist. I am a blasphemy for the UK.
Thank you for the generous super chat. That's a very
thank you for
generous
the
super
very
chat.
generous super chat. Tezbot gave a super chat saying Starmer is a treacherous C word. I'm going to be very curious to see how long his government lasts. How long can this hold out? I don't know.
Tell us if you're from the UK. Tell us. Yeah.
John gave a super chat saying insult Abrahamic prophet. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. That is a silly joke. And I'm glad I knew what you were referring to. So I could pull it off. GJ, thank you for celebrating your membership, saying the UK punished underage grooming victims since the 80s. Yeah, that whole situation is enough to completely, I don't know, make you lose your mind. When I first heard about the grooming gang things, it was like when I was still in Antifa, and what is going on here? And I thought it was just complete like far right conspiracy. And then I actually started to research it, and I was like, Holy crap. Holy crap. It boggles the mind. Dan gave a super chat saying Islamization is already happening when we are eating halal meat and can't criticize Islam. There should be no place for halal meat and blasphemy. I think Armin would
Yeah,
agree that there should be no place for halal meat because of the way that it is procured, right?
yeah, halal meat is animal abuse. And to be fair, I have to look into this. I think also kosher meat is also animal abuse. I was happy to see Denmark. Was it Denmark that banned both of them?
Well,
Very
the European, I don't know what commission it is, some freaking government, extra government body that controls European standards has taken measures against kosher practices. And people
yeah,
flipped out.
yeah. If you piss off religious Jews, but secular Jews are happy with you, you have hit the right balance, right? But yeah, both kosher and halal meat should be legal, in my opinion.
Next, can we please eradicate circumcision? Pretty please.
Yes.
Dan gave another super chat saying blasphemy is beautiful and emancipating. It liberates your mind when you see your god or prophet humiliated and mocked. For me, it's less about that and more about it being a principle. Like nothing is above scrutiny, nothing is above mockery, nothing is above satire. That is a very important element in the pursuit, the ongoing and permanent pursuit of truth. GJ is saying this is the UK absent a well-written constitution. You know, there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about that. Gajan is celebrating his membership, saying, I keep my Quran next to World of Myths. Gajan sends me photos of all of his giant textbooks of world mythology. They look freaking badass. Like Armin, you would be so jealous of his collection, to be honest.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Dan gave another super chat. Thank you, Dan, being very generous, saying the UK is becoming Pakistan, Canada is becoming Khalistan, Quebec is coming the Middle East, North Africa. White people need to be smart about who they let in. Well, I mean, Armin kind of already expressed his contention about this way of looking at things earlier.
It's not white people.
Yeah, come on.
This is not a white people thing. This is an American thing. You should say Canadians, Americans, British people. Okay. Like, I mean, look at this. America is not that white, but it's not doing as bad as Europe, right? So, because this is not, guys, be careful about this. This is not white versus brown. This is liberalism versus Islam. Okay. We have a lot of brown people that are aggressively liberal. So don't make this a white versus brown thing. Okay.
Yeah. So I just had like a instant flash of like all my Iranian friends are the most hardcore secularists you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
GJ is saying, Susanna, I hope the UK won't ban you like Robert Spencer. GJ, you flatter me with assuming that I am nearly that important or well known.
Wouldn't that be a badge of honor? Like, wouldn't that be like pretty? If you become as big as Robert Spencer to be ban worthy, wouldn't that be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna put that in my resume? Like
apparently
yeah.
I've caught some attention.
Maybe.
My God.
Yeah. Like, you're famous if that happens. Yeah.
Too spicy for the UK. GJ gave another super chat. Thank you, saying economy minus France equals almost bankrupt minus euro collapse. What?
I have no idea what that means. I think
GJ, I have no idea what you're talking about. I am sorry.
Yeah.
full complete sentences, please. Gasian gave another super chat saying, in my humble opinion, I think wealth and access to resources play a role in radicalization. The insane beliefs of the Taiping and Boxer rebellion and cultural revolution happened under economic stress.
Yeah, so it's
There is an
multifactorial.
element of this, but it's not. Some people use this argument to absolve the fundaments of Islam,
Yes.
and I have major contentions with that. But yes,
So
the materialism does have a role.
of course, guys, of course, poverty. Like again, this is so simple. Radicalism is multifactorial. Islam is a major factor. Do we get some radicalism when we have poverty? Yes. Do we get some radicalism when we have Islam but no poverty? Yes. Do we get the most radicalism when we have Islam and poverty? Yes. But Islam is a major factor. Given that many places are poor that don't have Islam and we don't have as much radicalism, we could see the difference. Obviously, poverty helps with radicalism, but in the modern times, nothing helps as much as Islam when it comes to radicalism. Nothing, even though we have other factors at play here, nothing is more influential as Islam is right at this moment right now. So it's pretty clear if you look at the data.
So Dan gave another super chat saying Indian Muslims do join ISIS. Zakir Naik is an Indian Muslim. He didn't join ISIS. I mean, he is an extremist, but he didn't join ISIS. Indian Muslims at least have seen Hindus as equals, celebrating their festivals like other Muslims who have never seen non-Muslims as equal. You know, I didn't say
It's
that
too
they
much
don't
generalization.
join ISIS. I'm saying that people that study radicalization have noted that they would have expected more to do so given the proportionate population within India. And they have seen a startling underrepresentation given
Right.
other conditions.
Yes.
And
And
they
also,
find that noteworthy.
please also understand, not joining ISIS as much doesn't mean a lack of radicalization. It could mean a different brand of radicalization, right?
Yeah.
Like if we see a group of Muslims are joining ISIS less, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not as radicalized. It means that their expression of radicalism might be in a different way.
Okay, so next super chat, Dan gave another one saying, can we hack Muslim nations' national TV stations and broadcast blasphemous anti-Islam cartoons to all Muslims? What will happen? Kaboom? I don't know what you are inferring with that. What's the utility of that? What?
Yeah.
What's the point?
No, yeah, we don't, guys, what we're fighting for is our right to create the content, including blasphemous and insulting content, that other people who don't want to see it get to opt out of it. We don't want to force content. So this is the ask. If you don't like it, don't fucking watch it. Don't listen to it. Don't read it. If we force the content on people, then we don't have that argument anymore. Right? We are basically saying if you are offended by something or if you don't like to see something, it is your responsibility not to see it. If your responsibility not to just not watch it, it's not my responsibility not to create it. If I go force somebody to see something that they don't want, then I don't have the moral high ground anymore.
Okay. GJ is saying, Susanna, I don't do Discord. Amsterdam's mayor equals a lifelong libtard, and the decision that the suspects didn't commit terrorism should be made in court, not the DA. Well, the DA does, at least, you know, how things work here, they do have discretion in terms of what they prosecute on the basis of if they can secure a conviction. Maybe they don't think that they would be able to secure a conviction. And they have an interest in and what's the word I'm looking for? Having a high conviction rate for the sake of their own credibility. But GJ, I think you have my email. Please email me information about this. You don't have to send it to me on Discord.
If you email
Because I'm actually very
Susanna,
curious
please
about
don't
this.
write full sentences with less capitalizations. Don't write formulas that she has to decode so she understands what you're saying. Anyway.
David the Goliath, thank you for the super chat saying Muslims in Bollywood are not a good example of a liberal Muslim. They do not practice Islam and are more or less assimilated into Hindus. I have a contention with this because we want people to be as nominal within their religious practice as possible. That's my goal as an atheist.
Wait, no, but
If you're just a cultural Muslim
understand.
that's basically nominal, I'm like, hell yeah, the less religious people are in general, I like that more.
I think this is a self-contradiction, this super chat. So listen to this. I'm saying Muslims in Bollywood are not a good example of liberal Muslims. They do not practice Islam and are more or less assimilated into Hindus. I mean, isn't that what a liberal Muslim is? Isn't a liberal Muslim a type of Muslim that takes Islam less seriously? Like, isn't the more liberal you are as a Muslim, it's not because you have a better version of Islam. No, there is no better version of Islam. If you are a liberal Muslim, it's because you're living less Islamically. So if you're saying that these Muslims are assimilating with the rest of the population, that's what a liberal Muslim is to me, a Muslim that is not living Islamically. So I don't understand how is this a, maybe I'm misunderstanding what she's saying.
Yeah, personally, like I want people to just have like a cultural tie to their faith background.
To their faith,
the same way
to
that
their
people, like-
environment.
No, in the sense of like people are cultural Christians, they practice Christmas. No one gives
Cultural,
a fuck.
yes. Cultural, yes.
Secularized.
Yeah, cultural Hindus, secularized Hinduism. Cultural Hindus, yeah.
I got no problem with that.
Yeah, me too.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.